Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Eric with the Black Financial Initiative. You already know we got Larry and T. We got a great episode for you today. So I'm going to kick it to T to introduce our guests.
We have a very, very special guest with us today. Right now, we have a former D1 athlete at a big-time program, national championship team. We have a former NFL veteran, current author, bringing us a great book today, Jonathan Scott. So first thing I'm going to ask you, sir, is what was it like being on I'm going to take the possibly off, on the greatest college football team in history, the most exciting 2000, I believe it was 2005 national championship, Texas Longhorn. I still got people that owe me money.
Man, no, it was. I appreciate that. That was a hell of an introduction. So, but I definitely say, man, being a part of that team, it was a great experience. Simply because I was just part of something that was great. You know, it was the journey. You know, the journey of coming off the last season, having a destination set in our mind. We manifested that we're going to be back here, got to work immediately, went through the process, kicked butt all the way through it, ran through opposition, and then being able to, be victorious. And it was a hell of a feeling. So it was one of the best memories I had, especially throughout my entire professional and collegiate career.
Man, that just gives me chills and goosebumps. I mean, we're going to ignore Larry and Eric because they don't recognize and don't understand the greatness that is UT Longhorn football. We're going to discuss who they represent. But
is it OU?
Oh no.
Let's cut this short.
I like Michigan, but they ain't been nothing in a while.
Okay, I get it. Are you a Midwest guy?
No. I'm born and raised Dallas.
Yeah,
that's just a team that kind of stuck with through like Charles Woodson. That's who gravitated me towards them. So I just stuck with that team. But I mean, here living in Austin now, I mean, you bet not say anything or disrespect that team. Like they are. Until I moved down here, like I didn't know how diehard this town is. Like they serious.
Oh yeah, they're dead serious about it. Bleed orange, we bleed burnt orange.
Yes sir.
Yeah, we bleed burnt orange. Yeah, man. So
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I don't take anything away from y'all's championship. I was watching. I was glued to it. I was excited. I was excited when y'all won the championship. So I don't take anything away from it for sure.
That's good. That's good. No, it was a hell of an experience, and yeah, it's just that. It was a hell of an experience. A hell of an experience, man. Yeah.
So we're talking about your football career. So let's get into it some more. You might give us a little background on your collegiate and NFL career.
Yeah, collegiately, of course, played at UT. I made some accolades, All-American, consensus All-American, All Big 12.
Say it like it's nothing.
Talk your stuff. Talk your stuff.
I tend to be kind of humble because at the end of the day, it's like I give reverence to those accolades, but that doesn't define who I am. So, and plus, I wouldn't have got all of my accolades if I didn't have all of the people that was in my corner and helping me get better and sharpening my sword to, be a better person, be a better player, be a better student. So, it was a collective effort. And then on top of that, I play offensive line. So I don't get to call a lot of plays. So I'm used to be like, all right, teamwork, let's get it. Let's know how we do it together. But after college, got drafted to the NFL, and it was a very stark difference coming from winning program. I only lost my entire college career. I think I've only lost 4 games, maybe 5. That's it. And so going from that to where like barely winning any games in Detroit, you know, it definitely challenged my my mindset of you know, how to persevere. So and then after that, you know, my rookie year, I broke my hip, and I was told that my season, you know, my career was over. And you know, I just had it in my mind, kind of went back to the basics. I just didn't buy into what anybody telling me negative, and I ended up playing 9 more years. So
Nice.
so most of my career was with the Steelers and the Bears. You know, played in the Super Bowl, been to a few championships. You know, and then at the end of the day, I was always an entrepreneur in my mind. Like, you know, where I come from, like I'm a hustler. So I'm, you know, I can, you know, I do different things. Like I'm into music. I'm into real estate. I'm into cigars. I'm into banking. Like I'm always willing to learn. And I love to be able, you know, kind of caveat, if you will, something that my father used to always say. He said, "Son, if you're in the room with 4 idiots, guess what? You the 5th. Son, if you're in the room with 4 brilliant people, guess what? You the 5th." So I always kept in mind that. So I always kept in mind that I'm always want to surround myself around people that have positivity, who are being able to bring something to the table. Because, you know, getting to a biblical sense is iron sharpens iron, you know, Proverbs 27:17. And
Yes,
so
sir.
that's the way I kind of like try to approach life when it comes to new challenges, new opportunities. It's like, how can I get better? How can I make my best better? So yeah, that's just kind of that's the quick nutshell of kind of who I am. But yeah.
Shout out to your dad.
Yeah, shout out to the parents, man. We say it all the
Yeah.
time.
No
Yeah, because
question.
there's
Yeah.
we've talked to several people, and it seems like a lot of them, you know, had good parents in their life, and obviously that's gonna you know help you out in your whole life, anything you're doing. So shout out.
Oh, no question. Yeah. No, my dad was my parents, both mother and father. Father passed away, but
Sorry to hear that.
you know, they were very, very involved in my life. You know, my dad was very supportive when it came to my my academic, my athletic career. My mom was the same with my academic, right? They set high standards, and it was the norm. It was like, yeah, you're going to college. Like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, you playing at the next level. Like, what you think you gonna be a bum, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's just like that's the standard, right? So you never did really question it. It was just like, ooh, you're more concerned. You know, it's like the optimism of like, where are you gonna go and what are you gonna do? That was more of the question. So, yeah, definitely had support system that was very, very, very strong.
No, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Were you gonna say something to you?
Well, I'm just gonna say, you know, basically the same thing you said. That's awesome because, you know, we bring on so many people, and that's a consistent message we hear is that their parents have a lot to do with that success. And you know, it's very important for the Black community for us to have those idols or mentors to look up to, and for people to guide us at an early age, because it's where we falter sometimes. Sometimes we're not receiving that message at an early age and know what to do when we get older. So it's great to hear that message consistently.
Yeah, and the messaging was consistent, you know, from my parents. So they said it over. It's repetition, you know. It's like, what's the thing? Like, you know, you got to have 10,000 hours before you become, you know, efficient or expert or something. It was kind of the same thing. It's like I was constantly being reinforced, and even in my subconscious mind, just constantly like, you know, do great things, be great, be kind, have humility, all those different things. So it was definitely a collaborative effort. It wasn't all me.
I like how you said they kind of set that standard in there. And I think that's good for our listeners, for the initiators to hear that standard of like, yeah, you going to college, like, yeah, you going to the next level. Like you put that in them, that kid knows nothing else.
Right,
like,
right.
They just going through it. I know T had, I'm sorry, you can go.
Okay. No, yeah, it's kind of that point. I remember hearing somewhere someone saying it's like it was kind of like an inspirational thing. Can't remember who, but it was like if you tell a skier to watch out for the trees, the only thing they see is the trees. But if you tell the same skier stay on the path, all he focuses on is the path and doesn't even worry about the trees. And so how I correlate that is just that, that was the standards. Like you're gonna be great in school. You're gonna be great at the next level. You're gonna be great in college. Like that's just what it was. So I always focus on how do I be great, right? And a lot of times I didn't have the answer. So, I just use a little common sense, even though it ain't common for everybody. I just said, man, let me look at somebody who's doing great things. And that kind of gets into my football career. Is like I just watched the people who were nice. Like, I watched Jonathan Ogden. I watched Tony Baselli. I watched Larry Allen. I even got to play with Flozell Adams. So, I just said, man, what you do to how you stop this pass rush, or like how do you take on this kind of block? I just watched him, and monkey see, monkey do. Yeah.
Make it easy.
Shout out the great Cowboys. Shout out the great Cowboys you just called out.
Yeah. Right.
Let's not start that up.
Yeah, because I don't know about the Cowboys.
Hey, we talking about the past. We ain't talking about what's going on right
now. Fun fact: my entire career, I have never lost to the Cowboys. Never.
A lot of people can say that.
Great. That's great.
Hey, we gotta stop it right now. We gotta stop right now.
To pivot back into it after your career in TT, you mentioned now that you're an author, tell us about your book, The Winning Playbook, and kind of what made you write it.
Yeah. So what happened was, right after I finished playing, I had not to give away the book, but I had a conversation. I had a conversation with God, and at the end of the day, one of the biggest things was I was asking God to expand my territory and help me find what my true purpose is. And there was this book that I read called Two Chairs by Bob Bodine, and I took some principles from that book and actually applied it in my actual life. And what happened was that opportunities started presenting themselves. And one of those opportunities was my business partner, Rob Welsh, my co-author. He was he's been in the financial space for, at this point where we're talking 18 plus years. And he had a conversation with a mutual friend that was a publisher, which is Indigo River, and said, hey, he found out kind of what we're doing from a business standpoint. He's like, man, y'all doing that? He's like, man, would you be interested in writing a book? And so he said that to my co-author, and then he's like, man, I got one even better. We got a guy that's living flesh, that's, living it. So next thing you know, Rob, he called me and said, hey, you want to write a book? And I'm like, I'm not a writer. He's like, no. He's like, you don't have to be a writer. He said, he's like, actually, you'll be an author. He says, when you think of authority, what's the first part of authority? Author. So in order to be an authority in our business and what we do on the financial side of things, it helps to be an author. So I'm like, all right, cool. And so went through the process of just kind of breaking down what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to make the book easy, right? Because finances doesn't have to be hard. Like people kind of scared of like, oh, it's so difficult. No, it's about the mindset. So one of the biggest takeaways from this book is that, yes, it talks about financial literacy and some of the different tools that you can use in that space. But we really wanted to talk about financial empowerment, like how to think like a CEO, how to become we phrase the term athletepreneur, like how you can take your skill set as an athlete and transfer that over into business. Well, guess what? The beauty of playing sports, the ultimate sport, which is football, you learn leadership, you learn teamwork, you learn opposition, you learn, turmoil, like how to deal with conflict, how to stay composed, right? You learn how to understand your skill set, study your skill set, preparation. Everything that I'm saying is the same thing that goes on in a Fortune 500 company, right? The product is different. So guess what? So when you're going into a new space, guess what? You know how to train. Now you just got to train your mind. So instead of training your legs, well, not only your legs and your muscles and all that, now you got to just train this muscle, right? So now if you get into real estate, take real estate classes. Get in the room with other people who have been in the business. Understand the beautiful part of real estate. Understand the ugly part of it. Understand the macro, the micro. And what happens is you start doing small things. You do a little flip here, flip there. Next thing you know, you're understanding. Next thing you know, you're getting in the commercial space and you get into understanding capital stack and understanding equity positions and understanding business EBITDA and cash flow. And like you gotta train your skills. You just train yourself. So my whole thing is, if I can learn how to play this position at the highest level, you can give me any type of business or vertical, I can be successful in it. Period. Doesn't matter what it is. I gotta train. It's just not gonna fall in my lap. I gotta put in the work and put in the grind. But if you walk me into IBM right now and give me the time to train it, I can run that company. That's it.
I love it, man. Especially, you throwing out the financial empowerment, because we speak and talk a lot about some of those same principles, but I don't think we're familiar, or we usually throw out that term. We'll throw out, financial literacy, but you're really speaking on something when you frame it in that way of empowering people, because it's one thing to learn it, to know it, but what are you going to do with it? So I think that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not so much knowledge is power, it's the application of knowledge that's power. And so, what do you do with it, right? Because the way I look at it is like I know you guys can't see it, but it's all about perspective, right? I can use this water bottle here. Is this water bottle, like everyone, you may say, oh, what do you do with this water bottle? Everybody say, well, drink it. Well, I look at it a different way. Like maybe I can use it as a paperweight. Maybe I use it as a blunt object to hit something. Maybe I use it to hold something up, right? And that's the same thing you got to think when it comes to like all the financial things in the financial space. There's so many different tools and so many different ways and strategies you can do. Some people may be like, oh, you use IUL. Some people may say whole life. At the end of the day, what's the strategy? What's the plan? What it really boils down to is, what's your purpose? Like, why do you want to make money? Why do you want to save money? Right? So for me, my purpose was to empower people. I make money to empower people, right? Be able to take the knowledge that I have from what I've learned and experienced to allow other people to build their kingdoms. because at the end of the day, if we're talking about the Black community, like think about it's literally on some Wakanda type stuff. Like if I can put you in a position to build your kingdom, and your kingdom is real estate, and your kingdom is dealing with insurance, and your kingdom is dealing with construction, and everyone has their kingdom. Why we can't work together? You making your money, I don't need no cut of you. You winning, right?
Mhm.
So guess what? We creating our own dollars. Now you start thinking like, dang, this is like Black Wall Street 2.0 again. Now you incorporate the stuff that I know, using trust and irrevocable complex trust, and using different types of tax strategies and shelters like a 990 PF form, which is a private family foundation, versus a 990 form, which is just a public foundation. How to be able to strategically use a system of interrelated trust to be able to minimize taxable liability with 100% transparency with the IRS. Like, how do you do that? Like, I can tell, like, I have strategy to tell some of my clients who are professional athletes, oh yeah, you made $50 million. I can show you how you can keep $50 million. What you mean? It's the education. It's the deep dive in the deep dive in the highest level of tax, right? So at the end of the day, what you doing it for, right? So my whole thing is that I wanted to eradicate the whole concept of athletes going broke, because the athletes that I know, which is a lot of them, they're pretty freaking smart, right? And what we see is that one athlete that, how he blow all that money? Yeah, they teach you how to make money, but they don't teach you how to keep money. That's a totally different thing. This is two totally different things. Like, so, yeah, like he knew how to make it, but how do you keep it? How do you keep it working for you? Because I know one of the things, and this is kind of just my personal mission, is that historically the Black community has been stripped from our culture, stripped from our education, stripped from our families, and stripped, and we depleted from a knowledge base, and then we get spoon fed some other rhetoric, right? Some rhetoric that most of the time isn't true. And so what happens is a lot of times it's interesting when you see predominantly white families, right? They're taught when they pass on to pass on assets, whereas in the culture, in the community that I grew up in, we were taught to pass on debt, right? So my whole thing is that, don't get me wrong, debt is a good thing, but we have to change the mindset of how debt is. Like, debt works, right? We can use debt to be able to leverage other people's money, right? We can use assets to be able to create more debt and then get someone else to foot the bill. Like, but that's a deep dive. Like, that's a deep dive into stuff. But at the end of the day, what the book is about is empowerment. How do you think about that? And it's not just geared towards athletes. It was kind of intended for athletes, but it's literally for everybody, right? It just gives perspective from an athlete standpoint. And the thing that I really, really like about this book is so easy. It's an easy read. It's one of those things that'll get you fired up. You can always come back to it. So it doesn't become all about products, because products change. They got an iPhone every week, every month, or every, every 8 months, 6 months, whatever. Right. So the products change, but the mentality, the mindset, it's the same, right? It's having a hardened mindset of like, what do you really want to gain from, your finances? It's about being in the driver's seat, right? It's cool if you want somebody else to run it, but you still need to be aware, because you have to inspect what you expect. If you don't know how your money works, you don't know where your money going. Next thing you know, they just send you like, oh yeah, man, you made $300,000, you made $3,000 this month. No, they took 6,000 and just showing you 3,000. Like, but you got to inspect what you expect. So you don't have to be an expert in business. You don't have to be an expert in finances, but you at least need to know how it works, right? And so now you can be able to create that hierarchy in a company, It's like, yeah, I need someone who's a specialist at that. Well, guess what? That kind of goes back to the same thing I was saying. Well, our dad said, put yourself in a room with a bunch of brilliant people. Guess what? You're gonna end up brilliant, right? You in the room with a bunch of idiots. Guess what? You're gonna be an idiot. So, and that's the one thing that I constantly, kind of, that's what I do. Is like this book is being able to bring light to people to create knowledge bases. We're in a whole Renaissance era when it comes to enlightenment and being able, and I love it. So what you guys are doing, keep doing it, because at the end of the day, it's empowerment. Like it's about empowerment. So
That's the
Man,
word of the
look,
day,
yeah,
empowerment.
yeah, we'll be using that.
by all means, please do.
So you mentioned the kingdoms, helping everybody develop and create their own kingdoms. We got Wakanda going on, and we know in the kingdom of professional sports with athletes, we have a lot of young Black men or young Black women that do these sports, and they come into some pitfalls that you alluded to earlier. What are some of the biggest pitfalls that you see these young athletes come into, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, so one of the biggest pitfalls is, this generation that I work with, Generation Z, they different, but
yeah, very different.
But one of the biggest things is that, let me back up a little bit. One of the things that I understand psychologically is you can't get anyone to change their mind unless they start questioning their belief system, right? So I can't talk to no kid about, man, you need to save your money, right? How can I tell a kid that was middle to lower class income, had this dream of going to the league, getting some money and getting his mama out of the house, getting a nice little watch, Rolex, get some diamonds. I get it. Like, you've been waiting for this moment all your life. So what I do is say, hey, I come at a different perspective. I say, you know what? If I can show you how you can be able to get your mama in that house, get you that diamond and that Rolex, and you don't even have to pay for it, would you be willing to listen? That's when you get them, right? And then at that point, they become interested, right? So they're like, that sounds good. See, what's happening is they're questioning their belief system, right? Right? Because they ain't trying to hear no old dude talk about no money. What you know about money? What you know, right? Like, I'm trying to get this paper. Like that's their mindset. So what happens is when you get them to question their belief system, it's like, man, maybe there is a better way, right? Then at that point, they actually listen, and then they see you doing it, and you bring them along. Next thing you know, they like, yeah, OG got some game. Like, I'm listening to him because it's like, bro, got this car over here, and man, he just showed me the paperwork. He don't own none of it. What? Yeah, like, dude, he got his trust that owns all that. I take away liability. Like, then we just get into a conversation, and then when we get into the conversation, I can go. Like, I can talk that talk because I spent 5 years like getting in the hole, training myself to understand the higher level of finance. Because at the end of the day, it's one, you want to be able to protect your assets, grow those assets, and pass those assets on, right? And you have to use a system. I created my own system. That's our business, right? Is creating the system. I sell the system. Like, the information is what I learned throughout the way, right? And it's one of those things is like, now these young guys, they want to know, like, they instant gratification. So I'm like, all right, cool. You want to get it fast? All right, do it your way, right? I'm gonna show you this way over here, and I bet you I'll do it, and you're gonna run into more problems than I will, right? They bump their head, and you sit there and be like, hey man, come on over there, no problem. We can fix that, no problem. I got you, And you kind of gotta give them a little humility, right? But at the end of the day, what happens is when they winning, oh, guess what? My whole business is referral based.
Oh yeah, they telling
Like,
everybody. Yeah.
like they say, like, yeah, bro, you need to holler at, you need to holler at Jay Scott, man. He that guy. And I'm like, dang. Next thing you know, I was like, man, I'm starting to take on all these different clients. Shoot, I'm thinking to myself, I got to build me a team, right? I can't talk to all these folks. So what I do is help people build their kingdom, right? So my whole thing is like, how do I duplicate myself? So I got all this knowledge. What point does it make for me to have all the knowledge? Like that doesn't fit my purpose at all. Like, how can you empower and keep all the knowledge? It doesn't make any sense. It's counterintuitive. So I've noticed that a lot of guys spend money, but what I the big thing that I like start off with is kind of what we talked about, before we started, is you want to have ownership of nothing, but control of everything. And you do that by systems, creating systems, right? That's more of the deep dive, right? That goes into my business, right? But at the end of the day, what we tell guys is not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Because you got this one individual, her name or his name is Internal Revenue Service. And they tend to take anywhere 40% of your cut. Now, if we're gonna keep it a buck 100, that's gangster. Taking 40% of your money,
Yes, sir.
50% of your money, that's gangster. Not to mention, when you're playing in a city, they can take anywhere, city, state, county tax. You in California, that's another 12%. So we talking 52% of your money is gone.
You never even see it.
Where they do that at? Where they do that at? So my whole thing is that everything that we teach, I go off the Internal Revenue and IRS.gov website and teach it from there. You don't need to believe me. Go look at it for yourself. Trust but verify. You can trust me all you want to, but I tell you, go verify it. Go find and see if I'm telling what I'm saying is flawed. Go right ahead, right? And that's where the confidence kind of comes in, is because I already did the research. I already talked to the attorneys and the retired judges and trust estate attorneys and tax attorneys. Cool. You never heard of it? Why? They don't want you to know. And we get into a real conversation. This system, this structure that we're in, wasn't meant for you, sir. It wasn't meant for you. It wasn't meant for you to know.
Real talk.
Huh?
That's
it wasn't meant for you. Now, a lot of times people say, man, the justice system is wrong. I'm like, man, it's working perfectly.
It's working like they design.
It's working exactly how they intended it to do. Like, that's what it's supposed to do.
Working to perfection.
It's supposed to keep you out. It's supposed to keep you impoverished. So my whole thing is that what I'm about is not about flossing and flexing in front of them. I ain't about that. I'm about building kingdoms. So if I got 10 people like me, I can move however I want to move, and ain't nobody gonna even know, right? And then on top of that, it's like, why do I need to be at somebody else's table when I got my own? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that indoctrinated mentality. It's like, why we always got to do what they do? Why can't we create our own? That's why I said this is like on some Wakanda type stuff. Like this book is just the first step. The book is the first step.
So earlier
I know
you
that
said
was a lot.
No, it's good. All great information. I know earlier you said athletes are smart, and to be the professional athlete, you have to be smart. And I know you said but pro athletes get a bad rep for how they spend or lose money. Is there truth to the reputation, and why are so many people bad with money?
Yeah. There's truth to it, but I think it's just a fallacy of the perception. Is kind of my point is that that's stupid because you lost that money. It just didn't know. Like, if you didn't know that you can be able to put monies into index universal life policy and be able to pull from it tax free and don't have the 59 and a half rule or 70 and a half rule? Well, if you don't know, then you just don't know, right? And so it's one of those things. Is just that they're just not educated, and there's this expectation. It's like we just supposed to be born with knowing everything, right? And it's unfair criticism. It's unfair criticism because, do you expect your astrophysics to be able to pull a person from the moon if they never taken any astrophysics like courses? like there's think about it, there is no financial literacy courses other than little workshops on the weekends here and there. Where's there like you got 3 hours of economics, you got 3 hours of history, you got 3 hours of geometry and trigonometry. There's no 3 hours of social financial literacy, financial empowerment.
That's true.
What university do that at? I missed that course.
Yeah, so basically just that lack of education, just ignorance, but and that's where we go back to, the top
ignorance,
of the
but
podcast.
not stupidity. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Just lack of knowledge, but goes back to that education at home, because if we're not getting it at the school, in the classrooms, or out in the world, or at least until you're grown and you're getting it out in the world, when you go and seek it, then it's up to kind of, your friends or family member, those parents at home, to help bring those people into the light at an early age. But no, I agree with you. It's not the athletes just want to do bad with their money, or not even athletes, anyone. They sometimes just don't know. They haven't been educated on it.
Right. Because, they had to get educated on that skill set to play in the NFL. Right. It wasn't just pure talent, like not just 100% pure talent, like, and don't know nothing. Like, it doesn't exist. Trust me, it does not exist.
It's kind of funny thinking about it in that way, like you were saying with the sports, how you to train or whatever to do for your sport, now to do this other thing, you have to train for that too. And, just envision all these kids now. I mean, they're AAU camps, they go into football camps, like all this training, in order to get to that next level or whatever, you have to do that too in whatever field you're in. Like you have to go to that training too. Like you just can't up and know something, you have to go through the time. And one of the questions I had on that same thing was, I don't know if you've seen like the ESPN documentary Broke, the 30 for 30 Broke. How accurate was that? I mean, I thought it was good, but I mean, I don't know. I've never been in that realm. And to me, it made it seem like they're more so doing what the common man do. Like my friend goes and buy, I don't know, a pair of J's, and then I want to up them. Maybe I buy some other pair of J's that are, I guess, rare or whatever. And it's just kind of a back and forth game, but they're doing it at a much higher money rate, and that's the way I took it. Is just, for one, they don't know, and two, they're doing the same things, the common man is doing, is just at a greater financial pace.
Yeah. So what it really boils down to is like, one, the documentary, you got to understand it was of course it was informing us, but you got to also consider there's an entertainment aspect to it. So yes, there is, those situations are 100% true, but we really get down into the granular level, is that we fall victim, professional athletes fall victim of that white lab coat, like fallacy. So you see a doctor with a coat on. Oh, he must be a doctor. Oh, he must be smart, right? And that's what happens is that you got these guys, got these nice looking suits in this pretty looking office, and yes, we do 401ks, and we can be able to change it, be able to keep it conservative. And we have some good things in the market. Real estate is always the best play, talking that talk, right? But they ain't not educating you on nothing. They don't tell you about all the small little details, right? And so what happens is you get calm, right? You get hustled, because guess what? Football players get an absorbent amount of cash in a small window, right? You got to be on some like next level athletepreneur type stuff, but everybody ain't LeBron James getting LeBron James money.
Right.
That's just keep it in 100. However, is that, you know, LeBron created a team himself where people like have a skill set. This is your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get your cardiovascular doctor to be your suit guy, or you don't get your suit guy to be your orthopedic surgeon, right? And this is what happens is like we put this loyalty on people and not understanding what's best for you as a brand or best for you as a business. Like I can't hire my mom to be my mechanic. That's not what she do. That's not what she does. Right? It's not no knock on her. It's just that's not what she does. And I think what happens is when these guys get all these people that are loyal to, they probably have the best intentions. And what happens is they'll have this intermediary guy speaking on behalf of a player, and like, man, it's just the casino deal that's gonna be in Nashville. It's 520 million, and you know, if this goes as planned, you know, you can get 30% margin and you get piece of ownership. Yeah, that sounds great. But they don't talk about the whole SWOT analysis. They don't talk about the actual market. They don't talk about bank rates. They don't talk about the CEO of the company is filing for divorce, and like they don't get into it. You know, like and the spouse is about to take half their assets, so they got to freeze their bank accounts. Like it's so deep. But the thing is, it's not informed, right? And we just put this blind trust in people because they look like the part, right? So that's why I always say, man, don't believe nothing I say. Trust, you can trust me, but go verify. And my whole thing is to verify, and you got to go to people who are authorities on the subject. So,
man, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. What's the wildest thing you've seen in your experience, you know, as a pro athlete, or what was the wildest proposition someone approached you with?
We're talking about finances here.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, we'll
look
look into the other stuff too. Hey, don't have to be finances.
No, I got you. Yeah, I got you. But financial standpoint, the craziest thing I got introduced to me was a guy wanted me. He had a deal about buying a bunch of vending machines. No, like the candy. You know, the candy, the jawbreaker candy machines that be in barbershops. And so he wanted me to buy up all the vending machines. And then he had a plan to put like different types of products in it outside of just chips and candy bars. And I was like, all right, cool. So when I hear stuff like, why? Like, why are we doing that? I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what. Send me a business plan. I put them to work, right? Because if they about their business, they're gonna have everything I need, right? I was like, send me the have your man reach out to my guy, and my guy ain't nothing but me. Right? Yeah, send the email to my guy. I just made a little phony email. I always had a little phony email. Send it to my guy and send me your pro forma business plan, executive summary. You know, you want to look at financials for the last 5 years and the projections of that, and we'll sit down and have a conversation. Sound fair? And like, all right, cool. Never got it because I know it was full of crap. Like, someone is full of crap, put them through the ringer. Like, make them go do the work. Right? All right, cool. And so I think that's probably the wildest one because just the way he approached me, it was just like, really? I just signed a new deal, and you want me to cut you a check for your side project? Man, I'm not funding no more hobbies. I'm not doing that. No.
He probably went to all his friends like, "Oh, Jay Scotty tripping."
Oh, and I love it. Yeah, I want you to go back and tell him he changed. Yeah, you're right. I changed a lot. You think I'm gonna stay the same and stay in the hood? I ain't keeping it real because I want to improve. Like, shut up. Shut up. Yeah, all right. So one thing you're gonna definitely learn as a professional athlete to be successful is learn how to say no and own it. It's because guilt is what gets people spending all this money. Feeling guilty. Oh man, he ain't getting back to the hood. Man, I can do whatever I want to with my money. Like, I get it. People got their opinion, but I'm gonna give you some real stuff that my grandmama tell me. You know, I'm gonna say it as my grandmama would say it, so don't judge me. She would say, "Baby, what you eat don't make me shit."
Was it your grandma or Jay-Z?
Yeah, that heard Jay-Z say it too.
That was my grandmother say that when I was a little kid. Yeah.
That's true though. That's 100% true.
100%.
Yeah, so I'm just like, all right. So say what you want to about me. I know who I am, and I ride steadfast in that. I know who I am, and I know who I'm not. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of, and it's funny because I kind of add this little saying. It's 4 things that I know. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. I know who knows what I don't know, and that's all I need to know.
Keeping it simple.
Keep it like I can say this. Understanding life is pretty simple, but it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like we ain't gotta make this difficult. That's why I'm like, think smarter, not harder. Like, a lot of times it's like, I'm pretty sure a collaborative effort is a lot easier than trying to do this stuff by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A lot easier. So, kind of get to the point. That's the purpose of the book. And simple. All right. Yeah, this stuff ain't hard. This ain't hard.
And so with that, you seem like, I know you seem like you straight to it, you know how to say no. So what are a few of your financial philosophies or things that you stick to? I know you got a few.
Yeah, so for me, I don't invest in companies anymore. I invest in people. Because if I invest in the person and I put in, I can really feel the spirit of the individual I'm working with, the money's gonna come. So and then on top of that, my business practice is in private lending. So I understand I understand banking and finances at the highest level, and just some of the stuff that I know. Like, when you really understand money, the real money is in money. Right? That may fly over a lot of people's heads, but why would I invest in something that's going to take 7 years to make money when I have an understanding of money can make 7x in 45 days? People are like, well, yeah, but I understand you got to meet people where they are. So for me, if I know that I can be able to do 7x, 700% on certain things, leverage that and create systems so everybody can win and get a piece of the pie. We all building kingdoms, right? We're creating we're creating true financial wealth. So back to your question, what are some of my principles? I only invest in people. I don't invest in companies. The 4 no's that I just mentioned. And I would have to say the biggest, the third one is probably the biggest is, what is your why? Like, why? Like, why are we doing this? Right? And a good buddy of mine told me this. I love it. I said, I'm gonna steal that. I was like, he says, when you chase money, you'll never catch it. But when you pursue it, it'll fall right in your lap. So at the end of the day, what that really means is like, man, I don't be looking for deals. Man, I just speak my truth. And, I trust that God will give me the how by presenting something to me. Right? So it's one of those situations where I was like, bam, what do I got? What do I know? What do I don't know? Who knows what I don't know? That's all I need to know. So at the end of the day, what I got in front of me, and I got this book. Bam. How do I, my goal is I want every person in the world to read it. I'm gonna shoot for the stars. I'm gonna land probably on the moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do I do that? Well, first thing I said, shoot, sound like we need to get a PR team, right? That's it. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how my PR team got with you guys, but that's their skill set. That's their expertise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led me to here. Like, I don't know. I didn't do the how. I just knew what I knew. Shoot, I know you probably need a PR team. Boom, let me get a PR team. I did a little interviewing. We went through some different folks. We're like, boom, let's go with these guys. I like what they present, and just go with it, right? And it's created fruit, and that's the thing, is like the seeds that I plant now may not bear fruit for another 10 years. The conversation I'm having with you guys right now may not bear fruit for another 10 years. And I'm cool with that. Like, yeah, I want people to go buy the book, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's gonna be even more powerful when I got Byron Allen reading the book and saying, man, you know what, I want to do a deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you say you were, in the highest level of finance. Yeah, let's have a conversation. Cool. Boom. Now, yeah, Byron Allen talking about he gonna be the first person to buy a franchise, NFL franchise. Shit, that'd be real cool to be the guy to give them the funding for that franchise. That's what we can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of things that, like, I invest in people. I don't invest in companies. Like, I'll tell you right now, and I can put it right here on the podcast. If you're looking for me to invest money into your business, I ain't doing it. I don't care if it makes $1 trillion a year. I don't invest in that. I invest in people. And I roll with that. And it makes life so much easier. So much easier. Because I know who I am and I know who I'm not. I've been down that road of investing in companies that had all the perfect paperwork. Right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's just not what I do. Right?
Yeah, that one makes sense because people run the company or the businesses anyway. So if you can trust the people behind it, trust what they're about, trust that they're knowledgeable and have a good mission, that'll make things a lot easier.
Because my whole thing is like, you can put on a beautiful front with the website and your marketing campaign and your Twitter and your LinkedIn and your Instagram. I don't care about that, man. What it look like when I look you in your eyes? What you really trying to do? What's your why? And then when I get to the why, I go 5 whys deep. So why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Oh, that's why. All right. You really get to know, like, who you're dealing with. Because at the end of the day, the fictitious company is just a name. But the person that's running it, that's who you're dealing with. So when you really find out that they were just trying to steal your money so they can pay for their cocaine habit, nah, man, please. Mm-mm.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's stuff like that. So that might be the wildest one right there. Like, nah, I'm not, no. And it's crazy because, I take that back. That probably was my wildest one that I avoided.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, like I found out later because he's got this real estate project. He was doing, like, they merged together and doing all of, like, the little tanning beds and stuff. Like, what's the big tanning company? You go in there and folks get their, suntan.
Bro, none of us know what it is.
I was like, speaking to the wrong group. I was kind of
it's a black financial initiative.
Yeah. So
I was like, God bless them.
It's a big name, right? It's a big name. In the suburbs, they got all these little tanning booths, right? It's like a franchise, right? So this guy, he was talking that stuff. Oh yeah, he had the Lambo and the Rolls Royce and all the, you didn't know if he owned it or controlled it, right? He leasing it or renting it for the weekend. You don't know. Like, they making it look like they big time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talking that talk and, name dropping and all this stuff. Oh, I know Tom Hicks and all that. I'm like, woo. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, come over here. We had to, we had D Lincoln's, we having steak, and we got the back room, champagne, you know, just all that wooing folks, right?
Mhm.
And then something in my spirit told me, nah, that ain't the move, Jay. That ain't the move. So fast forward, ran into somebody. I was like, hey, how your man doing? Man, he's like, and he got that, you know how when somebody start off conversation, man, I tell you, bro, start rubbing their head. And we found out he was he was in some financial trouble, right? With the SEC. No,
Oh, SEC, yeah.
Yeah, SEC, right? And I ain't talking about college football, right? The Securities and
Exchange Commission, yeah.
Right. And so he got
the big
into
boys.
situation. And what was happening was he was, living a lifestyle, going to LA and, doing a dog and pony show, whatever they call it, right? Trying to sell this whole concept of this planet tan or planet something. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so found out that he was embezzling some monies and, he was doing Reg D, but didn't have the proper paperwork, got in trouble with the SEC, and next thing you know, he got down on his luck and just started spiraling, and he was like supporting this like $20,000 a week cocaine habit.
Whoa.
Yeah, that could have been my money. Gone.
Woo.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, boy.
That's why I don't mess with the booger sugar. I'm good. I'm thinking if I'm gonna die slow, it's gonna be off this. I'm good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, you gotta be careful out here. People do anything with your money.
I'm just saying that's why you got to be in the driver's seat. You ain't got to be an expert about it. You just got to know how it works, and that's the whole thing about it, the empowerment. I'm not sitting there just saying I know everything, but I do know how to analyze the situation and do the best. Be able to make a sound decision that's for the betterment of my why, of my purpose, right? And so, it's in being a professional athlete. You're just the athletic version of a Brad Pitt. Everybody wants your time. Everybody wants your pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's the best at whatever they claim that they do. Like, yeah, whatever. Right?
Man.
All right.
Speaking of those athletes, this Black Financial Initiative, so we're gonna keep it black. Black athletes and white athletes, or athletes of any other, race, did you see or do you see any differences in how they manage their money?
I see how they spend their money. I can definitely see how they spend their money. And again, this comes from economic differences that come from, right? I forgot the statistic, but it's somewhere around 70-80%, 60 to 70% of like Black athletes in professional sports come from middle to lower class income. Now, when you look at those communities, the lower class incomes, they're always underserved because they have lack of, right? And so the majority of those guys, again, there's nothing wrong with it, because I'm not going to crap on a guy's dream of being able to get this thing, right? And you got to be careful of, praying to a false god, which is possessions. But can you fault a kid that living his dream? That's his dream, right? And what happens is they spend it on things that depreciate in value, right? Depreciating assets, right? But like there are some cars, like I know there's like cars with depreciating assets. Well, some cars are, not all. There's some cars, depending on the car, that will appreciate in value as soon as you buy it. there are some cars, there are some types of jewelry that appreciate in value as soon as you buy it. Like if you get a Grandmaster Chime Protect Philippe, yeah, as soon as you buy it, it can increase in value in 20%, literally in 1 minute. Why? Because think about it like this: things that are rare always increase in value. All right, things that are just like widely available appreciate in value. All right, so yeah, so to answer your question, it was more I saw how people spend their money, and it's in the book. I talk about it in the book. Yeah, I saw it in the background. I like that. Yeah. So product drop, shameless plug. If you guys want to check out the book and get a little bit more about it, you can check it out at yourwinningplaybook.com. Again, that's yourwinningplaybook.com, and it's available on all different types of retailers: Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, and the list goes on. Target, the list goes on. So if you love to get to know more, just log into yourwinningplaybook.com.
Put on the voice and everything. But yeah, we'll definitely have to post that with all our posts on the Instagram account and on Twitter. We'll have a link up for that. So definitely check out that book. All this great information that he's giving us right now, you can get more of that. This is just a teaser.
Yeah, definitely, brother. What are more questions you guys got?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it to the book. I got one last question for you.
Okay.
Coming from a former pro athlete who made a lot of money, how can your book help the average person trying to build wealth?
Well, it can help you. It can help the average person understanding how commerce works, how taxes work, understanding how the mindset that you would have to have, and understanding money versus currency. Money is something that God makes. Currency, and we use money intermittent, like kind of intertwined, but money is something that God makes. Currency is something that man makes. If it's something that God made, it's rare and always increases in value. So what is that? Gold, precious metals, land, right? Can't make more land. Now you can build upon it to make it increase the value quicker, but God ain't making more land.
Yeah, that's what my granddad used to say. Eric, God ain't making no more land out here.
Yeah, so those are kind of things. And then at the end of the day is understanding the perspective of how to build your team, right? Building your team of like your own personal board of directors, right? Building a person that's your financial, or getting someone that advises you on financial opportunities, getting someone, having someone that's your spiritual counselor, your personal development, building your team, because everyone has an expertise in something, right? And then on top of that, you got to have that lifelong friend that keep you in check and say, bro, you tripping, like you doing the most. Like, nah, man, you foul. Like someone that ain't no yes boy or yes man, right? That someone's gonna keep you 100. Like, building that true team. And so that's some of the things that you'll learn in the book. And it's just kind of cool because the way the book is written, it's conversational, right? So my co-author, he'll speak on a certain topic, about taxes, or how money grows. Or when I say money, I'm talking about currency, like how that grows. And then I'll go into a story. So it's like story time, right? So it gives a little bit of, like how I use that concept or that understanding of that concept and implemented it in my life. And like I said, I didn't hit home runs every time, but I learned a lot from those things. So kind of my other kind of like takeaway, I would say is, don't look at life as wins and losses. Look at life as wins and learns. So therefore, when I say I never lose, because I don't look at losses. I look at it as learns, right? I don't win all the time, but I never lose, because it's in my mindset is that I'm gonna learn from it. I'm gonna learn from my mistakes. I'm gonna learn from my accomplishments, right? Because if you think in the terms of wins and learns, you think in abundance. You think about, you're always optimistic. It's like, man, like, yeah, I'm shooting for $1 billion, but why not $1 trillion? You know, like, I want to be the first trillionaire. Well, maybe, but I don't think I want anybody to know that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but what's wrong with thinking in abundance? Like, yeah, I want my own business. Me, I want my own company, right? Like, at the end of the day, wasn't Sam Walton an entrepreneur? He turned it into a company. He's still an entrepreneur. Isn't Warren Buffett an entrepreneur? He just turned Berkshire Hathaway into a company, So, and I think what happens is if you have that mindset and use, some of these tools, it'll help you in building your kingdom.
Yeah, and like you said, you don't have any losses. What was that? I think it was Edison. I think it was like with the light bulb had like 10,000 ways. He said he just found out 10,000 different ways it didn't work.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't fail 10,000 different times. He just found out 10,000 different ways not to do it. So.
Yeah, exactly. And that is hell of a mindset. And then on top of that, in the back of the book, it's a little goodies, is the different types of books to read. It's like, it's so many different like suggested reading. And when you see it, it's a lot of stuff talking about the way the mind works and mindset. Because, man, you ain't gonna be no billionaire unless you get the mindset. You're not gonna be a prolific athlete unless you get the mindset. Your talent is only gonna get you so far, right? It's a mindset. So I think it's something like, I think it's Zig Ziglar, and I know I'm paraphrasing, but he says he's like, motivation is like taking a bath. You got to do that stuff every day, right? But if you have a certain mindset, there's no need to get motivated, because that's just how you wired to think. And now, like I said, you go to a deeper level, deeper dive. Now you're talking about the subconscious mind. But like I said, that's a different topic, and that's red pill, blue pill kind of thing.
All stuff we can get in the book.
Right. Yeah.
We really appreciate you, man. I think one thing I hit on, one thing I take from this conversation and also from others is like the mindset is literally like, it's so powerful and something that you need really to go places or go to that next level or learn something. Is literally just the mindset.
Yeah, the mindset. So, because what happens is if you have a certain mindset, you know how to, when you come into conflict, like internal conflict, external conflict, if you have a certain mindset of abundance, a certain mindset of positivity, it would all, you'll always come out on top, right? And on top, maybe that the deal didn't go through. But what did you learn, right? Man, I learned how not to do that, right? So that's, and that's part of just personal growth for myself. I guess that's the reason why I got these grades. It's like I've been through some things. Right? I ain't do everything right. Well,
man, I appreciate you talking to us, man. You dropped a lot of great information, and one thing that I took from this conversation is you have a lot of confidence, And I think that's something that that can be used within our lives, whenever everything we're doing, and that probably comes from practice and reputation and whatnot, and whatever you're doing. So that's one thing I took from our conversation as well.
I
So,
appreciate it. And like I give you guys big shout out, man. You got a collective of Black men wanting to empower, not to just only entertain, but to be able to spread wisdom and positivity, man. So, man, nothing but ongoing success for you guys. Like nothing but positivity, man. Because we need more stuff like this. Because there's so many people who are without the knowledge, and you guys create a platform and a pipeline, if you will, to distribute good. So, man, keep doing what you're doing.
No, I appreciate it, man. You the same. You know, I think we'll definitely get into your book. Probably even do a book review on it.
No, but by all means, please be harsh. And if you love to, do a review on if you buy it from Amazon, put a review out on Amazon. It helps with the numbers.
Yeah. Go ahead one more time. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find your book.
Yes.
And where they can find you, social media, anything where we can reach you at.
Yeah, everything that you can possibly find out about me, my book, my co-author Rob Welsh, you can go to yourwinningplaybook.com. Again, that's yourwinningplaybook.com. It's about financial empowerment. I hope you guys enjoy it. You can get a little bit about me. If there's any inquiries, you can be able to email us, contact us, and have further discussions, whatever that may be. Whatever that may be. So check the book out. I think it's a fantastic read, easy read, and I just want to spread the word.
Well, thank you for that, man. We'll definitely have some people out there checking it out, getting educated and entertained. So great stuff right there. Appreciate you for coming on, joining us.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, we want to thank Jonathan for sure. Thank you again, sir. And everybody, please check out the Winning Playbook. Read it, review it, everything. Tell your friends about it. So that's everything for me. If you have anything, bye.
Peace.
All right, initiators. Peace out.